The condo market is in a complete recession in the GTA and in some parts of Canada. We are seeing that the math is not working anymore for investors, for developers, for buyers, and even for renters. We are seeing the biggest economic recession and meltdown in the condo market since the early 1990s. Today, we're going to talk about the underlying forces that are causing this, with particular emphasis on investors and how they're impacting the GTA market and what we can do about that. My name is Marcy Verberg. I work here in the Toronto area, both as a realtor and I love economics and like to talk about this. Here we go. Okay, so what has happened? Basically, we have the condo market in Toronto has been hugely reliant on investors for a number of years. And about 70% of pre-construction condos were purchased by investors. Now, we need to have a certain amount of condos sold before we can actually get a condo project off the ground. And right now, what you're seeing is that less than 50% of the pre-construction condos are actually being sold. This is getting really crazy. One of the reasons behind this is that the math just does not work. The costs have gone up so significantly for investors, and their cash flow is becoming negative, and they can't make money or even break even anymore. The developers are unable to lower their prices because their costs have gone up significantly in terms of building, both in terms of labor, in terms of materials, and most importantly, in terms of development fees. Keep in mind that these government development fees are, around $200,000 of a new construction condo. So the math is just not working. Now, the average price for a pre-construction condo in Toronto is about $1,400 a square foot, or for a new condo. For a resale condo, or one that was already built a number of years ago, that is about 60% lower. So we're seeing a massive price gap. Now, we've seen a dip of about 5% in the new condo price, and we've seen a dip of about 12% in a resale condo. Now, I can tell you that the resale condos are going to go down even further, just anecdotally, because what I'm seeing when I'm out selling condos, which I do a lot of, is that we're able to negotiate the price, down 10%, sometimes $50,000, $60,000 on like a $550,000 condo, which is a really big drop in price for like that size of a condo. So what is happening kind of with the investors more on a more specific basis? I'm going to show you how they're losing so much money. Okay, so we had a couple of things happen. We've talked about before how if you bought an assignment condo, you can't close on it. So now you either have to sell it and you lose like hundreds of thousands of dollars, or you don't. Now, in terms of just getting in there and purchasing a new condo, there's no incentive anymore, because I'm going to show you a chart here, and this is where the cash flow negativity is gotten really, really, really crazy for investors. So in 2023, what we saw was about 24% of people did not have a mortgage on a new condo. And then we had about 58% of people were losing money or cash flow negative on their purchase of a condo when they used it as an investment. The average person, losing about $597 per month on their condo investment. Now, this has gotten worse. That was 2023. More recently, about 81% of investors are losing money on their condo when they're using it as a rental or investment. More significantly than that, even, is that 30% of these people are losing more than $1,000 a month on their condo each month. So you can see that there is literally no incentive for an investor to buy a condo. And it gets even worse the bigger the condo. So the studios are doing a little bit better, losing like 300 some odd dollars per month. Whereas if you have, into a 3-bedroom kind of new condo, you're losing, over $1,000 a month on an ongoing basis. So nobody wants to be an investor and lose $1,000 a month. Now, before you would have said, well, the appreciation might come up so much that it might make sense for me. However, I think people are kind of speculating that the appreciation is not going to go up that dramatically. We're going to see a couple of $100,000 increase. You'd be happy to kind of keep it, increasing just a little bit. What we need to see for the investors is we need to see those rental prices come up. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, they can't come up because nobody can afford to pay any more rent. And that totally is the other side of this. So the average rent on a new construction condo right now is $2,700, which is pretty high, as we all know. But the average carrying costs are about $3,250. So that, again, it makes no sense. Now, for the people to become investors again, they need to increase the price of the rental to make this work. However, people can't afford it. So that's why I'm saying it doesn't work. The math is not working for the renter. It's not working for the investor. And then as it's not working for a buyer and it's not working for a developer. So we're kind of in this really kind of a crux of a situation of, how do you get out of this situation? We need the interest rates to come down significantly. We need development costs to come down. We need rental prices to come up, which probably means that we need the economy to be abundant and keep going. I just also wanted to mention that we've seen new construction projects down about 75 projects this year, and each one of those represents about 500 jobs. So we've lost about 40,000 construction jobs in the condo market just in this year, which means that the construction employment is down, is up about 7.5%. Now, in terms of like how many of these condos are actually rented, well, new construction condos were about 34% rented in 2023, dropped down as the interest rates increased in 2024. Those dropped down to about 25. Resale condos were people were buying those about 10% of the time as an investment, and now they're only buying them 2% of the time as an investment. What you're going to actually start to see is the condo supply start to go down for renters because we're very reliant on kind of single investors or mom and pop investors in this area to provide housing for people. You're going to see this market compress. Now, even though we're saying we need more housing, the economic factors are not creating an environment. So there you have it. That's kind of an update on why we're in such a big economic recession in terms of the condo market. We're going to have to hold still and see if we can fix this. Now, if you are purchasing a condo to live in, it's actually a really good time as long as you can, you make your payments and that kind of thing. As an investor, it's a way more tricky, especially in the GTA. However, if you want to buy a condo for yourself or for your kids, if you want to downsize, right now would be a terrific time to downsize into a condo because you're going to get one of the really large, nice units, the older ones that actually feels like a house, for a much better price than you would have a couple of years ago, and you can negotiate that down. So there you have it. There's the update for the condo economic recession, mid 2025.